Hello and welcome to the latest episode of the Late Late Show with me, Irish Tommy. And as always, I do have a guest with me. You've seen her before. She made her debut a few weeks ago now, so it's great to have her back on. It's the one and only H. How are you doing, mate?
Hey mate, how you doing?
Doing good, doing good. You all ready for
Good.
Santa?
As of today, yeah. I think I finally got stuff done.
Yeah, I tell you,
Um,
I was exactly the same. I went into town this morning like early, like 9 o'clock, because I just hate that crazy
yeah,
afternoon.
oh, I can't
You
do
know, when
it.
the traffic's ridiculous and trying to find parking and shops are all jammed. I was in there this morning, got parked up, no problem.
Oh, easy
Went
was
into
it?
the shops. It wasn't too busy. It was great. Got everything done. I was back home for the afternoon, and I was able to just have a lunch at home. It was really nice.
Lovely stuff. I do a lot of stuff online. But then I always get to like sort of the last couple of days before Christmas, I think, oh, I really need to get a couple of extra bits. So I always end up sort of popping out just to the high street shops. But even today they were chaos. So I was sort of in and out, got a couple of extra bits done, and then that was it for me. That's it. If there's anything else, it's not been delivered yet.
Yeah. I'm good now. I'm happy. Like I not really do. You know the men thing where we just panic on Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
I don't know how something wrong with us men in our brain. Something that Christmas seems to like sneak up on us, and we only realize it on Christmas Eve, and then we're like panicked, and we're like buying stuff like at the
And I
last
feel
second
like
at the
you
petrol
always get
station.
given enough hints and enough notice far enough in advance as well. Like I'm pretty sure like the women around drop the hints for months about what they
Yeah,
want.
yeah,
So there's no real excuse because you've been given the warning, but
yeah. I
but
genuinely I got literally every present today. Like,
it's a good effort. It's a solid effort, to be fair.
yeah. A late goal. It was still a winner, so it doesn't matter. A win's a win. A win's a win. I'm taking it.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I suppose a nice present, H, would be a result at Arsenal. Obviously, got
Mm,
them coming up on Monday. This is going to be, look, obviously on paper, this is one of the toughest fixtures we'll play all season. They were absolutely flying it before the World Cup break. We were the opposite. We were just really horrible, really, really bad reversals at home against Palace and Leicester, and obviously sandwiched in between that was a really poor result in the Carabao Cup at home to Blackburn's reserve team. Um, two clubs just in a completely opposite form. But the thing with the break, we've had such a big break that do you think that gives us any kind of extra hope that we don't quite does form kind of not count as much now because you can't. There is no kind of form really at this point.
yeah.
No one.
Yeah, I think to some degree it does. I think for us, like maybe less so because we didn't have much momentum before the break. Um, in
Yeah,
fact, it could do the opposite and actually having some headspace away from competitive fixtures for a while might have done the team some favours. But I think maybe for Arsenal, perhaps it will have some sort of impact because they really did have that momentum, the positive streak. Um, and now, hopefully, that World Cup break has been like a bit of a disruption for them, especially like having some injury blows and stuff. Like maybe that's sort of affecting the mindset. You're coming back to training, and not all the faces are there, and sort of you don't know. It's really difficult. It's difficult to know how it will impact the team. But I think there's something in it. I do think that there'll be some sort of impact there. What that is, I don't know. Like Moyes commented saying apparently since the boys have been back, they've really been sort of looking like they're working hard because they know they need to do better.
yeah,
So hopefully that is the case. But whether or not the gap counts as sort of like a break in form, I don't know. I hope it's a good break for us and a bad break for Arsenal. It sort of slows them down a bit. But yeah, really difficult to say. But hoping we can take something from it. But in typical West Ham way, I'm not that hooked on the idea of us winning. But then anything goes, and we've done it before against big clubs. But we just have an issue with Arsenal, I think. We can play the best football in the world against Arsenal and still lose. So
yeah, I was going to say we're absolutely cursed against Arsenal, aren't we? In recent fixtures, especially, and there have been games. I remember we've actually outplayed Arsenal. And I remember, at our place, was a couple of seasons back, we're at home and we completely outplayed them. Like we were the better team on the day, and we lost 3-1.
Yeah.
And it always seems to be we.
Was that when it was 1-1 for a while? And
yeah,
and we completely allowed them
remember,
to come at us.
I think did he bring on? He brought on Masuaku, and then he got absolutely destroyed. Who was it? Come on, he scored a really, really good left foot shot. He cut inside. Masuaku couldn't defend him, and he
I can't
remember.
I just remember I was walking back up the stairs. I think maybe just after half time, might have been this game, and I just heard the away fans, and I was thinking, where has that come from? Because there's no way. We were not on the back foot for this. So
we've got no luck against them at the best of times, and I think if this game had have happened, after the Leicester game, I think it could have been really ugly for us. The way Arsenal were playing, the way we were playing, you would have given us really no hope in that game. But like I say, the hope is that this break will have changed something. And at the very least, I think, even if Arsenal come out and play really well and win, I think at the very least what we're looking for is some sign that something has changed at West Ham, that even if we lose, that we can at least come out of it saying, okay, there's something really positive to take from that. Like, we played really well, and we really gave them a game, and maybe we were a little unlucky, or maybe they were just brilliant. But at least, that we can have some kind of positivity heading into the Brentford game, because obviously that's the crunch comes after this Arsenal game, right? We've got games against kind of Brentford, we've got Leeds, I think we've got Everton and Wolves coming up, and I think those are the games that are really going to tell us whether or not we've turned a corner. And I think we need really, more than anything, even if we lose at the Emirates, just to be able to say, okay, we can see from that game that we played much, much better. And we played better football. We were able to create some chances. Maybe we'll have scored a goal, and that for me is a big thing. Even if we can't get the result, that we can take something out of that game to give us some hope going forward in the more winnable games.
Yeah, I completely agree. Because that's arguably what's been missing, right? We've come away from these games and gone, what, we've defended again, or we've left it until the last 15 minutes of the game to give them something to think about and look like we actually want to turn up. So, if there's signs or, there's effort throughout the game that show that that's changed, then like you say, happy days. Like, you'll take a loss, because arguably Arsenal are the team to beat right now. And defensively, their record is good. And I mean, I know it's, it's not the same for everybody. Every game is different game, different challenge. And, it doesn't look great if we are possibly missing both Scamacca and Antonio. But they've got something, like 6 or 7 clean sheets?
Yeah.
Like this season, and they've only lost 1. So defensively, they're not looking too bad. And if we don't have those attacking options, something's got to give. But, that to me screams, are we gonna come out and play for a point? Are we gonna defend the arse off the game, because we don't expect to get anything from the attack? But you're right in that I'd like to see something that says, okay, fair enough, they're a really good side that are on good form, they've maintained that form if they win, but we've tried something here, we've given it a go, we've actually given them something to worry about. Because that's what we lacked before the break, I think, really. There are a couple of games where you could say, we did most things right for the majority of the game, but only for a couple. And like we said before, last time I was on, something's got to change here. And if there hasn't been a turnaround in this break, when? And I know there are a few people saying I didn't get to Fulham. a lot of people saying it looked very samey. But let's hope, that's a run out at the end of the day. And what actually happens in a competitive match away from home, it could be a completely different kettle of fish, right? So yeah, let's hope that we give them something to worry about. Let's hope that we come out to actually win the game. But I don't know how many of us believe that will actually be the case. We hope for it, Tommy. Like, we know we will hope for it, but whether that will be the case or not, I don't know.
Yeah, and obviously, we've got some issues ourselves here. I mean, there's going to be some first team regulars that are not going to be available to us. It's certainly, I think we're going to be without Cresswell. I'm not so sure. We know we're definitely not going to have Scamacca. We may not even have Antonio. So we could end up having to chuck Jared Bowen up top.
Yeah, I'd imagine that'd be it.
Well, we've got some keys. The one I'm not sure about is Naya Faguerd. I mean, I don't know, because he was penciled in to actually play for Morocco in the third place playoff game against Croatia, but then he felt a bit ill, so they ended up not playing him. I think they just had him on the bench. So that would suggest to me that possibly we could get a little fillip there when the team sheet comes out on Monday. We might see possibly Aguerd coming in and playing at centre back, which would be huge for us, I think, given that he looked mustard in the World Cup, didn't he? I mean, he looks really
absolutely sensational.
So that would be a real boost. But I think we're certainly going to be without Cresswell. We're going to be without Scamacca, probably Antonio as well. I'm not sure if he'll be good enough to start or whether Moyes wants to risk his hamstring in that game. He possibly could play though. So it's a tough enough game as it is, really, without all that going on, isn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, it's not the one you want to be going into with problems. And I think we were all like, yeah, we all needed this break. We all needed some time away from the travelling and even the home games. And we needed a bit of a reset, shrug off some of these bad results, get the boys training, get the spirits up, get a few, mid-season games underway. And, we'll be ready to come back with a bang. And then you can't help you see this stuff. Like, you see injury news, you see these results coming out of these matches, and you think, we're just cursed. Like, we just can't catch a break. And it's not just, it knocks us like the wind out of your sails a little bit. I was so ready. Like, I'm really looking forward to getting there on Boxing Day. I am. I've missed it massively.
I mean, it's like only West Ham could come back from a few weeks break with more injuries than we went into.
Yeah. Like, worse than we left. Like that. And I was thinking, it's okay. We don't have that many players going to the World Cup. That will be fine. Don't get me wrong. I think, years and years and years and years of supporting West Ham and going to West Ham, you always have this little voice in you have the little person on your shoulder saying, but you are going to have a problem. There will be an injury. So whenever I see one of our players going for a challenge at the World Cup, I'm like, oh God, please be okay. Like, I always have the fear in me because we can't afford to lose those players, because if they're that standard, they're going to be our best players. They're going to be key players, which they are. So I always have that nervousness that it might happen, but then it always does. Like, I just don't know. Our players seem that are just made of glass, Tommy. Like, they're just.
Especially it seems to be with centre backs.
What is that?
Our centre backs can't seem to stay fit ever. Like, I don't know. When have we had like a run of games where we've had, our
consistent back four?
There as a pairing, because it's one of those. Excuse me. It's one of those areas on the pitch where it's really vital that you have a partnership develop. Centre back partnerships are really important to a team's ability
100%.
to be tight at the back, and we just can't seem to do it. We seem to be shuffling the pack all the time back there, and we're just kind of cursed at centre back for some reason. And do you know what's a really weird one for me, H? I was thinking about this the other day. I was actually talking to Gatesy about it. It's the Kurt Zuma situation, right? So obviously, as soon as we broke up, sent him off to get surgery on his knee. Now, I think it's been clear to all of us that knee has been dodgy for quite a long time.
Yeah.
And what's baffling me, because we're going to be missing him now, they're saying it's going to be sometime in the second half of January before we get Kurt back. And I just can't help but thinking, why was he not penciled in for this surgery last June?
Mm.
Do you know, when the season ended, why would you not just send him immediately off to get this knee surgery done and get it sorted, so you've got him back pretty much in time for pre-season, or at least for the latter half of the pre-season, and so he'd be ready to go at the start of the season, knee done. I just don't understand why they've waited till now. I mean, if it was an injury that had happened this season,
yeah, like an immediate impact injury. Yeah,
he's been carrying that for a long time, hasn't he?
Yeah, well, as far as I know, I mean, there's a weird thing with Zuma, right? That I feel like anytime he seems to take a knock, it always looks like it's like the worst injury in the world. He always seems to sort of limp around for a while. But yeah, you're right. I mean, if this is the same one that sort of had him limping about and had him brought off the pitch a couple of times, then it is bizarre. Like, you know, we don't know what goes on behind the scenes. I don't know enough about it all, but
sorry, I just had a thought. You know what it is? You know, Sullivan is so tight that he booked him in with the NHS to get it done, and yet he was on the waiting list. That's why he couldn't get him in until now. That's what I reckon.
It wouldn't surprise me. It really wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, I mean, he was complaining about spending 50 grand to send the team up to Everton for a cup game, a Carabao Cup game.
Oh, come on, man! Like what are you thinking as a player when you hear and see that stuff? You're like, you guys can't be serious. Like,
yeah, so
I mean,
we're a Premier League team. We're not Burton Albion.
No. Like, I mean, there's just a certain standard in there, Tommy, that you've got to adhere to. But again, it comes back to that old thing that I said last time, I think, and that I say to my friends who I go to the games with. There's something about, if you want to be taken seriously as one of these top 4, top 5 teams, season in, season out, you've got to be doing those things that demonstrate that, and that's on the pitch, and that's in the back room, and that's everywhere. And I have a bit of a thing with this, and I don't know why, but there's this image issue that we seem to have, and we're trying to do the whole social media PR weird bit, pushing the club up, like trying to appeal to certain audiences. Yet on the pitch, in the dressing room, where we seem to still be sort of that mid to bottom of the table mindset from staff and from like the board, and so it's like we want to be projected up, and we want to be looking like this modern,
West Ham, London,
like and competing for Champions League, Europa League, Europa Conference, whatever you want to take. That's those, we will be those that, in 2020, whatever we said when we left Upton Park, and then these things just, you think, what? And I know every club's guilty of it. Every club's guilty of weird things with the players and things that they do during the season. And you think, what are you doing right now? Like, why have you done that? But things like this just, I don't know, it just makes me think we just look a bit of a mess sometimes. Like, and I know you can't help injuries all the time, but why us? Why always us? Like, what are we doing? I mean, are we, I don't know, like, we just seem to sign players who end up just completely like broken by the end of the set, like, and that's why I had so much respect for Craig Dawson stepping up when he did, and he was playing through an injury. But again, a player having to do that is mental. That a player is having to be injected every week and play through an injury because you have nobody else. Like, that's awful. You don't know what long-term damage that's going to do. Like, yes, they've probably got all the right people assessing and scans and whatever, but I just feel professional standard club, that sort of stuff shouldn't be happening. But
no, it's bizarre. I just I'd love an answer to that question. Like, why send Zuma now when you know it's going to mean he's going to?
And you're so right that centre back partnership it's so pivotal to what, for me anyway, personally, what happens on the pitch, and it's that relationship between the keeper and the middle of the park, and like it's a big leadership role for me in the middle of defence. It really is, because you can really see with us when we're lacking it. And I think it's so obvious when we've had that makeshift back four, or we've sort of had like players swapped in and out, or players who didn't expect to be in that back line for as long as they were for a season. And they turn up and they put the job in. But you do see you then see the little errors and the like the miscommunication and the little breakdowns in play that you just don't seem to see.
Communication is the big thing, isn't it?
Yeah, because when you've got those boys at the back who there is stability. They are arguably your brick wall at the back, right? And you think, I know they're there. I know the support they're giving me. I know they're hearing the keeper. I know they're relaying a message forward. Like there's just the trust about it. And there's been so many games where you've looked and you've gone, they don't have that trust with each other here. Like there's that communication's not there. We're really, really lacking that. So yeah, you're completely bang on actually, that's such an important role and such a crucial position for that sort of security and that overall consistency in the team, that to be missing someone who you want in there every week and straight away off this break is a blow. It is a blow.
Yeah, and the funny thing is that Aguero had never been injured till he came to West Ham. He'd never had an injury.
God, mate, what?
Yeah, he was playing every game. He was like really robust. He was like Declan Rice. He just never got injured, you know?
What do we do?
And then he comes to us and picks up a really bad ankle injury in a pre-season friendly.
Yeah, that was bad.
Against Rangers. And then he breaks down again, completely unrelated injury at the World Cup, like a thigh injury, whatever it was, a groin injury. It's just bizarre how cursed we are with those.
We were talking at the time, weren't we? I think we were messaging about how well he was playing, and you were like, let's hope he keeps his form for the Arsenal game. And then literally 5 minutes later, and I was like, why?
We should have known.
I didn't reply, Tommy, because I was like, well done, you jinxed it.
We definitely jinxed it. We should have known better, H. We should have learned. But I remember like a few seasons back, like our injuries were so consistent that we had, we'd have like 10 players out at a time. And I remember there was a lot of talk actually between us on Twitter, between the fans, wondering if it was actually the surface at Rush Green that was causing.
There's got to be something, It
was so bad, and it obviously wasn't that. So it's a strange culture at our club. We just can't keep the team fit, but and it's obviously not going to help us on Monday, because we kind of needed everybody really on Monday. I suppose the other issue we have is that what personnel is Moyes going to fall back on now? I mean, do you think he's going to go 4 at the back? Does he kind of have to? We're a little bit.
I mean,
I know we do still have centre backs, but obviously we've got Kerr there. Dawson is there, although Dawson's not looking too clever at the moment form wise. But Kerr is there, Oggie's there. Johnson can play as the right-sided centre back. They fell in that position before, although they're not centre backs. But I imagine he's going to have to play 4 at the back, isn't he?
I would be surprised if he didn't. But as you just said, it's going to be a bit makeshift, really, or we're gonna be playing players who are off form or not at the top of their fitness. But then for me, you look at those options there and you say, okay, well, they know the magnitude of this game. They know how important it is. They know what the fans are expecting. So you've got some players in there who they're grafters, right? They put a shift in when they need to. And I do, if Ogbonna has some time out there or whatever, he provides that for me, that stability a little bit. He's quite well composed. He's got that experience, but at the end of the day, that doesn't carry you through against a team on the form that Arsenal are. But I think
he's really good at reading the game as well. His anticipation 100%. Is very good. He's really experienced. He's lost a step maybe pace wise, but but I think up here he's still really, really.
Which is why I think he does give that stability at the back, because he's so intelligent and he's so he's got that experience, and he's he's done that for so long and he's done it so well
Yeah.
that he knows what the keeper wants. He knows what the rest of the players in front of him want and need and expect of him.
Yeah. And of course, in the
Yeah.
friendlies, we've had Oggy and Dawson beside each other those 3 games. So I'm wondering if Moyes will feel, look, they've played those 3 games
Yeah.
together. I'm just going to keep them together. Or do you think he'll chuck Kehrer in instead of Oggy? I think Dawson will almost certainly start, won't he? So
yeah, but then I do wonder if perhaps he'll chuck Kehrer out to right back again, he's done before. I wonder if, given they have been playing together, yeah, he'll do that. But then he'll want Kehrer in the mix, but chuck him out onto the right.
Yeah. Do you think he'll drop Sofal again? Do you think? I know there's been a little bit. Obviously, Sofal has come out and been critical of Moyes. Apart from the fact he's saying he wants more game time, which is, I don't think that bothers a manager too much. I mean, players always kind of want more game time if they're not getting it. But do you think he's caused a bit of friction there by saying that Moyes won't even talk to him?
I don't know. I mean, that's an issue, right? So yeah, no doubt that would cause a problem. But whether that's enough to not be given a player game time when really it's slim pickings, and do you want to go for somebody who, yeah, maybe if we're lacking that attacking option on Monday, do you want somebody like Sufal who, yes, whilst a lot of people argue poor form, and he's not the player that he seemed like he was in his first season or so, he will make the runs for you in the channels. He will try and hit the line and put a cross in the box for you. Yes, we all know those crosses are not the best, but again, it's that attacking option to give a team something to think about. Which
to be honest,
we might really lack that Monday.
Yeah,
so.
and to be honest with you, H, from a defensive viewpoint, the thought of Kehrer up against Martinelli scares the shit out of me, to be honest. I just think Sofal is much stronger defensively than Kehrer, and we're going to need someone defensively strong, I think, against Martinelli. He's a cracking player, and he'll be raiding down that left-hand side.
Yeah, and I think you're right in that. Like, what Kehrer is good. Kehrer is good, and he's clever, and he's another one who he can do his job very well majority of the time. And his awareness of the other players on the pitch, off the ball, all very good. But he reads it very last minute sometimes, and then he gets caught out for pace because he's left it too long to commit to the ball, or he's sort of made the wrong decision, like in a bit of a mess, and then he doesn't always manage to then track back or really get after his man, whereas Sufal can do that, and we've seen him do that. He's got that sort of like bulldog sort of ability about him, where he will then just go and then just get stuck straight back in. Like he'll get straight on them if he can.
Well, I think we need someone. I think we need someone who's going to kind of get a bit physical with Martinelli.
Yeah, just be in him and on him all the time. Yeah.
So I think I suspect Moyes will play Sofal actually for that reason.
Yeah, I'll be interested to see actually now.
Yeah, because I think obviously, look, Moyes in these games he does approach them defensively. He does think defend first, because they are so dangerous going forward, and so I think he'll probably play Sofal because he's better defensively than Kehrer. I suppose another interesting decision he's going to have is on the other side. We're not going to have Cresswell. So I guess the obvious answer is Emerson, who's his position. But again, I'm not sure how much Moyes trusts Emerson defensively. We know he's good going forward on the ball, but I think defensively he's not brilliant, Emerson. I think maybe Moyes sees him as more of a wing back than a full back, and he's even played him. If he's wanted to get Benrahma off or Fornells off that left hand side, he's even brought him on as the left-sided attacking midfielder.
Yeah, he has. Yeah.
So it'd be interesting to see if he puts Emerson in there, or if he decides to go with Ben Johnson over on that side.
I think I think there's a way up that he's got to do here, right? And we could say in Moyes fashion, he's going to come out and he's going to defend the game, because it's Arsenal and they're a really good side at the moment, and we're going to want to take something from it if we can, and if that's a draw, fantastic. Because we're going to look, I'm going to go, played with injuries, Arsenal on good form, let's get from it what we can. I'd be absolutely gobsmacked if he says, no, actually, we've got a lack of attacking options in our side this week, with the injuries that we do have, so we need to compensate for that in other areas of the pitch.
I'd be
but
shocked.
I think that's something he's got to consider. He really does, because
he should.
The type of like Arsenal, if you sit back and you invite them to put the pressure on you for 90 minutes, we could easily, Tommy, end up getting turned over 4, 5, 6 goals. Good evening.
Yeah, but I think with Moyes, I think Arsenal like using the flanks. They like Arteta likes to use the full width of the pitch. So obviously they're very dangerous down both flanks. Obviously, like Martinelli on the left, and they've got Saka on the right.
Well, yeah.
And a lot of their best attacks come on those flanks where they get the ball out wide. I suspect tactically, and I can't say I entirely disagree with this, Moyes will feel like he needs good defenders on the flanks to try and funnel them into the centre, try and frustrate them and force them into the centre, to try and contain Arsenal. And I'll be honest with you, if I see Emerson and Kehrer as the fullbacks, I will be amazed and a little bit terrified. I just don't know if they can handle Saka and Martinelli.
So, I mean, Saka definitely not. I mean,
yeah, and if they
have
don't,
the field day out there.
Yeah, if those two like get on top of say Emerson and Kehrer, we are bang in trouble. We're bang in trouble, and I think Moyes knows that. So my suspicion is that he's going to go with Sofel and Johnson as fullbacks because they're just better defensively. Okay, we do lose something going forward. I agree with you on that. But I think that's what Moyes will do. I think he'll want to be more defensive there and try to force them to play more centrally where he feels we'll be better able to contain them, which is probably true. So that brings us kind of into the midfield. Do you think he's going to go? He likes the 4-3-3, Moyes, actually. But also we've played a lot in the 4-2-3-1. I mean, personally, I'd prefer a 3. I'd love to see a 4-3-3. And obviously it gives us those extra numbers in the middle of the park as well. Like I would have Rice and Paqueta either side of Flynn Downs. You know, I think it would give us a better balance, and like I said, it gives us extra body in the middle as well, just to try and maybe get a foothold in midfield. So I'm hoping he plays with a 3 in there. Now, if he does, it could be Souček. You know, he tends to play Souček every single game rather than Downs. But I'd still rather see a 3 there, because at least when we do have the ball, it at least allows Rice and Paqueta to get on the ball in the middle of the park. It allows Rice to carry the ball forward, which he's become really brilliant at. Also, hopefully means Paqueta will see more of the ball playing, because I think actually
he needs to. He needs to in a game like Monday. I mean, he needs to anyway. But I think in a game like Monday, if we do, you know, if that's the sort of setup that we're going to play, and we know we're going to have to take that defensive formation, then we do need to be bringing someone like him into the game a bit more, to give us that option to break forward, and to create those forward passes, because some of the break-up play and passing forward in the World Cup was fantastic from him. And Rice for England. So yeah, you're right in that to enable them to make those moves forward is something that we've got to do. And it's only formation that's really going to allow that. Because otherwise I think, we run the risk of being weak in those channels, and we spend the whole time bringing, like if we're going to play a 2, pulling back the players in front of those. And almost forcing ourselves into the defensive 3
Yeah,
anyway.
because if we play a 2,
it's a complete waste of that shape if we're going to do that.
Yeah,
Do you know what I mean?
If he plays a 2 and one of them is Souček, I mean Souček, when he plays in that 2 beside Rice, he's essentially just like a third centre back.
Yeah, he's a floating defender, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah, he just sits back. Does a lot of his defending in the box anyway. Clearing headers, but Arsenal don't really play that way.
No,
Arsenal do.
I think that they're terrible. They're terrible. I mean, well, they have it's not terrible, but they're not great with like the ball, like aerially. They don't try and
the ball.
They're not whipping the ball in, are they? And they're definitely not doing it from further back in the pitch. Like they're not looking to put a ball onto the edge of the area in the air. They don't play like that. So you'd be cutting them out.
Yeah, because they've got nobody in there really that's going to threaten in the air.
And with what the options that they've got on the wings, they don't need to be doing that. That's not where their strength is.
No, they're trying to their wingers like Martinelli and Saka. They're always just trying to skin the fullback, trying to get in behind.
So yeah, we need to.
They play the little 1-2s and the triangles.
Yeah,
trying to get in behind. They're not going to be whipping crosses.
No, absolutely not. So then, you play Souček there, and you're just going to cut him out of the game, really.
Yeah, he's pointless. He becomes pointless. He's not going to be clearing any headers because there's going to be no crosses coming in.
Yeah.
So he'll be useful if we give away a corner or maybe a deep free kick or something. But other than that, he's not going to be much use to us. So I think it would be huge tactical error on Moyes' part to have Souček playing in this game. I think what we've really got to be trying to do, because look, we're going to have limited possession in this game. Arsenal are going to have the lion's share of possession, and we're really going to have to be at it on the counter-attack. We really are. And what we need are players who are good with the ball at their feet, who can pass the ball, who can carry the ball, who can drive forward with the ball. And Souček ain't it. He just can't do any of that. No. And that's why I think you go with the 3. I think, obviously Rice can carry the ball out. He's a good passer of the ball. Downs can carry the ball out. Really good passer of a ball. Ain't likely to give it away cheaply. And Paqueta as well, obviously really good feet, can pass the ball brilliantly. And I think that's going to be the big challenge. I think we'll defend manfully, and stoically. I don't think it will be easy for Arsenal to score.
I agree. I
think
we'll frustrate them.
Yeah, especially because they're which is a huge thing for us. Their talisman in that forward line, Gabriel Jesus, is not available. They're going to play Eddie Nketiah up top, and I ain't afraid of Nketiah. Nketiah is not really a goal scorer. He's a decent player, but certainly not a player I'd be afraid of by any means. I think we can contain Nketiah. It would be much more difficult to contain Jesus. He's a brilliant player. And he's really kind of what makes Arsenal tick more than anybody else in that final third.
Absolutely.
So it's a huge thing for us that he's not there. And I think we will contain them relatively well. Our issue, obviously, and this is an issue that's been ongoing, unfortunately, for us, is when we do win that ball back, how do we transition from a deep lying position to get the ball up front so that we can get a shot off? So that's going to be the problem. Obviously, we don't have Scamacca. Hopefully, Antonio will be good to go. But I imagine we would really, ideally, you don't really want to see, like the likes of Fornals in forward positions. He's just too slow on the ball. Yeah. You don't want us to be forced to play Bowen up top. We need him out on that right-hand side because he can carry the ball at pace. So I'm really hoping Antonio will be good to go for this game, which means we can leave Bowen out on the right-hand side, have Benny on the left. How do you think you'd like to see us kind of try to get at Arsenal when we do win the ball back?
I mean, to be honest, if we've got those players out and we take that formation, I'm confident in that. If they do their jobs properly, then I have every confidence. But I just think the thing that makes me a little bit concerned is when we do win that ball back, if it is in the middle of the park, it's that quick distribution. Are we going to get it out wide? Are we going to just keep trying to like break forward through the middle, then bring it back, get out wide. Like what we've been doing a lot of the time in a lot of these games has just been we don't want to be quick enough on the break, so that we're looking for the options of the pass, and we end up turning around again, or we lose possession. So yeah, I'd be interested really first and foremost to see how we set up. That's really going to dictate how we then look when we win possession back and want to attack. But I think the players that we do have to choose from, you know, even if we don't have Scamacca there, I mean, at worst, even if we have, I mean, not having Antonio will be a big deal to them.
Yeah.
Put Bowen in the attacking position. It's not going to be great for us, but what can you do? But if he is there, then I'd feel relatively confident that if we win the ball back and we break quickly, or we break intelligently, we'll be a threat to Arsenal as well. And I do think it's got that sort of, you don't know what we're going to look like on the day. We don't know what they're going to look like on the day. That's football for you. But it's just one of those games where there's just that certain energy about it. And there's been a bit of a build up with the break, and we know they're on good form. We know we're on bad form. There's that sort of feeling that anything goes, I think, regardless. But I think, talking of attacking, if we are missing both of them, I'd feel less anything goes, more we're going to have to make big sacrifices here. We're probably not going to look very dangerous.
Yeah.
Because missing Bowen out wide and putting him into the attacking spot isn't going to do us any favours. But I think, yeah, it's all to be seen, right? Who plays?
Yeah, I think, to be honest, yeah, I think there would be a big blow to us actually if Antonio isn't available to start. I think this is the kind of game, funnily enough, where he might actually be a better option than Scamacca. I think it's the kind of game where we might really need Antonio. You know, someone who's really great at holding up the ball. So if we do have to play it a little bit longer down to him, you know, he can hold it up, bring other players into it, wait for support. It could be a kind of game that would suit Antonio, and it would really help us. So I really hope he's good to go. If he's not, and we have to play Bowen up top, then obviously that would require a little bit of a reshuffle. And I think actually what I don't want to see is Fornells to be chucked out there.
Yeah, I was going to say that Fornells is.
Yeah, yeah, I definitely don't want to see Fornells put out there. I think that would be a disaster.
Yeah.
What I would actually do in that situation is I would move Paqueta forward and put him in the front three. So I'd have Benny, Paqueta, and Antonio, and I would actually bring Lanzini in the middle three.
Yeah.
Second row, because I think we need players who are good on the ball and who can pass and have good vision, and Lanzini's got that. And actually, Lanzini looked really good the last day when he played. I think he looked like he was playing really well. So Lanzini could definitely do a job.
Yeah, it's a good shout for me, to be fair. Yeah.
I know he hasn't played much, but I mean he's fully fit and he's a really good.
And when he comes on, he always makes an impact.
Yeah.
I mean, when he has come on in games, I've never gone, obviously there's been times I'm like, that's an interesting decision right now, but he turns up and he does his job and he creates something for us. So yeah, I think he's a good option there as well. But I mean, I'm hoping that at least one of the two are available. I think Antonio was training. I think there were pictures of him in training, so that's promising. But
I think Moyes would be willing to risk him, even if he wasn't 100%.
Particularly if he knows the Scamacca injury is, it's not long term, and he knows he'll be back. So is it like a bit of a right, you go in for this one, then if you're a bit sore, he's in for the next one. It's not an ideal way to look at it, but if it's that or reshuffle the entire formation for Arsenal away, you're right. A sacrifice might have to be made a little bit. But whether he'll do that to start, I don't know. But it does feel a bit risky. I think I'd rather Antonio start and have to come off and then we change things around than our whole setup starts as we've just discussed it, and then we bring Antonio on in the last 15-20 minutes. But again, that I guess that all depends on scoreline and, you know, how things are going at the time, because maybe we'll think it's going all right, we've held them, we've defended them well, now we need a bit of strength and speed up top just to try and nick something. You don't know, because he's done that well sometimes, Antonio, as well. He's been a good impact sub a couple of times and he's come on. So
I think we'll definitely see Antonio on Monday, one way or the other, whether he starts or whether he comes on, as you say, as an impact sub. I do think we'll see him. I suspect he'll start. I think Moyes will chuck him in. Hopefully, fingers crossed.
I'd rather he started, I'll be honest.
Yeah, it's better to start him and then get him off if you have to.
Yeah.
You know, I don't mean necessarily through injury, but, you know, because, you know, he runs really hard. And
you know,
with 20 minutes,
Antonio can't play how he plays for 90 minutes. Like, it's not sustainable. It hasn't been for a long time, but we've had to because we haven't had a choice. But I mean, we don't now, possibly. So maybe we'll have to go back to his old ways. But yeah, I mean,
what do you think,
I'm really interested. I'm really interested for Monday.
Yeah. So if we assume, before I have to say, Neil from Down Under, happy birthday, Neil, and Merry Christmas. He's just starting to celebrate.
Oh yeah, I can see the comment. Happy birthday, Neil.
Yeah, Christmas Eve. Whoopie doo.
9:15
Loads of presents, Neil. Wow, you're in for a lot of presents, Neil.
Yeah, but this is the thing. Do you get more presents, or is it because it's Christmas you don't get any extra?
Do people don't double up on you, do they, Neil? Let us know in the chat, Neil. Do you get presents on Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, or do they double up? Oh, I'll tell you.
I hope not, because that's not fair. But
so I just wrote to the chat here. It's all Merry Christmas. Okay, so let's assume for a second that Antonio's available. What do you suspect Moyes will do as a lineup? Do you think he'll go 4-3-3 first of all? I guess I think he will, but what do you think?
think he will. Yeah, I think he will.
What do you think he'll do personnel wise? How do you think he'll line this up?
It's a really tough one, this one, Tony, because I think especially coming back from the break and with the injuries that we've got.
Some ones we know are nailed on, right? So we know Fabianski's nailed on.
Yeah, we know Rice is going to be in there.
Dawson's going to be nailed on, right?
Dawson will be there.
Rice will be nailed on. Is Souček nailed on?
Surely. Yeah, I mean, I'm going to say Souček's going to be there, isn't he? Because
we have to assume Souček's nailed on. Paul is nailed on.
I think Ben Rama. I'm gonna say. I think he'll play Ben Rama. He's getting the starts, so I'm going to say Ben Rama will be in there.
Do you think it's too strong to say Paqueta's nailed on? Do you think he'll definitely play Paqueta?
I think he'll play. Although, again, it's that defensive stance. No, I don't think he's got a choice, Tommy. I really don't. Yeah. I don't think he's got a choice, but to not, to not play him. So
he'd be on a hiding to nothing if he didn't play Paqueta, wouldn't he? That would be the first question he would get if we lose and play poorly. He was like, "Why would you not?
Why didn't you play him?" Yeah. And for me, it's sort of, again, it's that compensation that, all right, if you've got that weakness at the back through injury, but then you've also possibly got that weakness at the top, and you're having to compensate there. Well, then surely you're going to look at the core of your play and say, all right, then if we're going to expect Rice to have to fall back a little bit more, or if we are going to play Souček, who's obviously going to play that sit role, then you do need someone like Paqueta in there to be a bit more creative, to drive the ball out and to drive forward. So I don't think he's got a choice, really. If we're going to set up like that, I don't think there's a choice. And I would like to see him.
Yeah, definitely. Who do you think will partner Dawson?
I think you might be right. I think he will go Kehrer.
I suspect so as well.
I think he'll go Kehrer.
I don't think he quite trusts Oggy enough.
No, and I think there's that nervousness around, since he's been back. He hasn't been, his pace is a bit off, but yeah, I think, there's just something around, Kerr's name, isn't he? He's just got back from the World Cup. Like he's.
Yeah. And to be fair, he's played well at centre back for us.
Yeah, he's a good player. He's a good player. Yeah. He makes errors, but he's a good player at the end of the day. And he's very aware, and he's good at reading. Like he's good at reading the game. He knows what's going on around him. And if a lot of the threat is coming out wide and being forced into the middle of the park, then again he gets caught out a lot when they're playing sort of a longer ball to the wide players, and I don't think we're going to see that. No, I don't think we're going to see that as much.
Arsenal are going to be more tippy tappy,
which I think actually he won't be too bad alongside Dawson in there. Then no, I think he'll go Kara.
Yeah, for me, the really interesting one is going to be who is going to plump for in the fullback positions. What do you reckon? I think he's going to go defensive, as I've said, because of Martinelli and Saka. I think he's going to be inclined to go with the better defenders. So I think he'll go Safal Johnson.
I think I don't think he'll play Emerson. I think the Sufal one's interesting. I think as far as we've discussed it, it feels like he's the best option. Johnson, I'm pretty confident he'll play Johnson. He trusts Johnson a lot.
Yeah. And to be fair,
and that's why I say
Johnson has played some really good games at left back.
He defensively, he's pretty sound. It's the getting forward he doesn't do very well, which I don't think Moyes is going to see as much of an issue in this game.
No.
I don't think he's going to be looking for that or expecting that very often. So, I'd say that's his weakness in games when we've needed it and Johnson's been playing. And I think we're really missing that player to drive forward and attack the box. But I don't think that's going to be an issue on Monday. So, I think Johnson will probably be his go-to.
Yeah. So if he does go midfield 3, obviously Royce starts, and we think Souček.
Yeah. Do
you think he'll play Paqueta deep with them? Or could he go with Downs, or could he go even with Fornells deep in there? Or what do you think?
I'm just thinking if he doesn't. Yeah, I think if Paqueta's in there, because then if we're playing a 4-3-3, we're not gonna. I don't think that you're gonna not have Paqueta in there with Rice and Souček if you're playing Souček. But then, like you said, Downs is really good at his ball distribution's fantastic. He's really strong. He's a very Rice-like player. Like he gets stuck in. But then, if you look at the three of those together, do you run risks? I don't know. I prefer if we're going to have Rice and Souček to have the creativity from Paqueta, so that if we are successful, if we are on the back foot a lot, and we are winning that ball back, we're not looking forward like we have done in some games when Rice and Souček have both been forced back, and we're going, where's the option? Whereas I think if Paqueta is then sitting in that midfield position, if they've come back to sort of win the ball back, if we force them forced Arsenal into the middle of the park, he will then turn and he'll be then looking to make a pass forward. Like I feel we lack that without him possibly. I think we run the risk of becoming a little bit too defensive and a little bit too slow on the break. I think he might just add that extra bit of flair and that extra bit of pace that we might need to break forward successfully if we do win the ball back for a counter.
Yeah. So I suppose if Antonio is available, the front three we think probably just picks itself. It's going to be Benny and Bowen either side.
Yeah, definitely. Like for me, I'm happy with that if that's the lineup, and arguably I would be happy if it was Downs as well. I would. I just think
I'd be very happy if Downs was instead of Souček. I'll tell you, I'll be really happy.
Yeah, me too. But I just don't think. I think you can almost. He's 100% already. He's not. I don't see him not playing. But You don't know, do you? I think it'll be really, really interesting. I don't want us to be too surprised, Tommy.
Yeah.
I don't want that like, I don't want it to be 7 o'clock and we're going, what the fuck?
Yeah.
I don't want us to be too surprised because I'm quite happy with what we've said, but you just don't know, do you? I mean, you don't know.
Yeah, and I think I think that would be an okay team. I wouldn't have any major issues with it, maybe apart from Souček. I just do not want to see Souček. But other than that, I think I'd be relatively happy if that was the team that we saw. I think it's what happens on Monday night. I think is more to do with how the players perform and how Moyes sets us up to counterattack. I think that's what it's going to come down to. Do we have an ability to get the ball forward, create some openings, and get some shots off? The worry would be that we're gonna all game we're gonna have 2 shots on target or something ridiculous like that, and just not really threaten them. Like we've said, I think defensively we will be solid. I think we'll be competitive in midfield. The question will be, can we hurt them? And I think that's what it's going to come down to. And Moyes has got to figure that out. And Christ knows he's had enough time to do it. He's been thinking about this game for a long time and how he wants to approach this. So that's what I want to see. I just want to see whoever is on the pitch. I just want to see that we're ready for this game and that tactically he's got it right and that we're able to give them something to think about. I don't want them being completely comfortable defensively all game.
No. And I just think we're just not. We've done the polite thing too often where we've invited teams to attack us for far too long during a game and waited until the last 15 minutes to get them on the back foot a bit more. And a team like Arsenal, you can't do that. It is not something you can do for that long. So I think if we don't set up properly, as you say, to give them something to worry about, to give them a challenge at the back, they will turn straight back round and put it straight back on us. And we are far more likely to tire quicker than they will from doing that for a long period of time.
Yeah,
and that's when errors happen. And that's where, players like Johnson and Soufal, if they play, they will become unstuck if they're up, down, up, down, up, down, and they'll lose their shape, they'll lose their game plan, they will start to struggle and it will unravel at the back. So we do need to make sure that middle and that counter attack, when it does happen, is sound and is something that Arsenal have to worry about, because especially you're coming up against a team here that in half the games played haven't conceded.
Yeah, and I think as well, because I mean Arsenal are so good, that if we're just sitting back and we're not able to maintain possession, if we're winning back possession and then 2 or 3 passes and we've given it back to them,
they will punish us.
And they will punish us. I mean, if we just let them probe and probe and probe and probe, they'll get through eventually.
100%.
They'll find a way through. We won't be able to keep them out. We've got to be able to have a reasonable amount of possession.
And I think we've got to avoid conceding early, Tommy.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
We really, really have, because I think Arsenal love that. And that will really, especially after the break, I think it's really, I know it sounds silly, I think it's really big who concedes first and how soon. I think if you can sort of keep it at a draw for a good chunk of the first half, or not concede too early, then I think that will change the whole dynamic of this first game back. Because I think everyone's going to be a little bit, I don't know, not sure what to expect, and everyone's got something to prove on Monday.
It's almost like
first game.
It's almost like first game of the season again.
Everyone's got something to prove.
Everyone's got something to prove. We don't quite know how anyone's going to play, really.
Yeah, how's injuries affected mentality, and they know we want to climb. We know they want to maintain.
Yeah,
so it's one of those ones where I think, if we can not concede first, or if we can at least, give them a bit of a game for the first 25 minutes, then I think that will really set a standard for the rest of the match.
Yeah,
really,
and I think as well,
it will give that boost. It will give that confidence.
Yeah, it'll give that mental boost to the players as well, where they're like, "Oh, we're playing well."
And I know it sounds really obvious. Like, obviously, if you concede early, then you're chasing the game. But we used to be really good at that. Whereas now we go a goal or two down, and it just, again, especially depending on how we're going to line up, and if we've got an attacker available, we will end up chasing the game. We won't. I won't be thinking it's okay, we'll get back into this. I'll be thinking the rest of this game is just going to be about not conceding again and hoping we can nick something. Like it will just completely deflate us, I think, really early on. And I think Arsenal love that, and they know that, and they do it really well. And so, you're right. We've really got to come out to give them something up top. We really do.
Yeah, I think for me, it's a lot. It's going to depend on our ability to maintain possession when we win it back. That like I say, we're not just 2-3 passes and we've given it back to them again, because we're on a hiding to nothing if we do that. That's why I want to see players on the pitch who are good on the ball. It's why that's why I want that midfield three to be Rice, Stones, Paqueta, all really good on the ball. That can hold the ball, good at passing, can maintain
good at getting it away.
And not just give it straight back. That's why I worry about Souček. I mean, literally,
me too.
Give the ball back. Even though I think, to be fair to Souček, I think he does a lot of good defensive work, but worst thing.
And I guess for me, it's not so much that. I guess I don't want to see Souček. I want to see somebody else, right? Like that, as you've said, better suits this game. And I think I saw somebody say something like, Moyes has a tendency to play the badge, not the team. So like he sees the club name rather than that team's current form or what that team are good at, what they're bad at. And I think that's been true for so many games. But I think you can look at Arsenal now and be like, both are the same because they're playing really well. But equally, you set up right. You know that they're going to be good at the back. Okay, so let's set up with our best possession players in the middle and our best attacking players breaking forward. Then arguably you're playing against what they are currently capable of, rather than playing against their run of form, playing against their 13 games unbeaten or whatever. Like play against how that they're going to come out at you by lining up properly, by ensuring that midfield is robust. And I mean, anything goes for me.
Yeah. So what's your gut feeling on it? Are you going, by the way?
I am. Yeah.
Okay, so you'll be at the game. What's your gut feeling on this one, H? You fancy it?
I really did, Tommy. But the closer it gets and the more you read, it gets to you. But do you know what? I think we'll take something. I think there'll be a draw, and I think it'll be 1-1. I don't think there'll be a lot of goals. Because I think, like we've said, we'll defend them well. We'll make it frustrating for them.
And Jesus is a massive miss for them. Massive.
Yeah, huge, absolutely huge. I mean, I think we'll take something because we have to. We really, really have to. This is sort of like a huge point for us in the season, like you say, with the fixtures we've got coming up, and even with like Brentford in the cup. Like, there's a lot of things here that if they go badly in the next few weeks, I don't think it's a point where you can turn back very easily from that. And then you've got Europa Conference coming back in. So I think we really have to. So I think they will, I hope, throw everything at it. And I think that's the sort of gameplay that will probably nick a draw against Arsenal. I'm not confident we'll win, but I think, maybe like a 1-1, something like that. I think it'll be a good game to watch, but I don't think it'll be full of goals. I don't. It's so difficult, but I'm going to go for a draw.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously, like a 1-1 would be a really good result. Given how good Arsenal have been and how poor we've been, I think that would be a really welcome point. Okay, it wouldn't turn our season around in and of itself 1 point, but it would hopefully.
It's a confidence booster as well,
I think it would almost certainly mean that we'd played well.
Yeah,
No, you're not going to go to the Emirates and play poorly and get a point. You're just not. So if we get a point out of that, we'll have really played well, I think.
And we play well against Arsenal and we lose. So if we play all right and we take a draw, then I'm happy with that.
Yeah, of course. And of course, we need points, wherever we can get them.
And I think that will do wonders for the team. I think you walk away from the Emirates with a draw after a break, played with injuries.
Yeah.
I think you're looking at that like a win.
Yeah, you're figuring, if we can go to the Emirates and play well and give them a game and take a point, we can certainly win at home to Brentford, away to Leeds. We can beat the likes of Wolves and Everton. So yeah, that could be really important to us.
What about you?
Yeah, not so much H. Yeah, I don't think there'll be a lot of goals in this, but I just can't help but think of Moyes' record in these games. This will be his 70th game.
So poor.
Away to the 4, right? So away to Arsenal and United,
Chelsea, Liverpool.
Those 4. He's yet to win one. This will be game number 70, plus the different form. I'm not optimistic. I do think we'll lose. I think maybe something like 2-0. I'm not sure we're gonna get that many shots off, if I'm completely honest. Again, even if we lose, the important thing for me is I just want to see some green shoots of recovery. I want to come away and say, okay, look, we lost to a really, really top side, but we actually really played well in that game.
There's some promising things happening.
There was some really promising stuff there. We looked a lot better than we have. At least then I'll feel like I can carry some confidence into the more winnable games that we've got coming up. So that's really what I'd love to see. Be delighted if we get a point. Don't see it, but I just want to see something from the team to suggest that maybe our form has improved and we are turning things around. It would be nice to see something a little different than what we've seen from Moyes, because he's been nothing if not predictable. He has been very defensive. He has been very negative in games. Now, I don't mind, like I say, being somewhat defensive in this game. We have to respect how good they are going forward and how many dangerous players they've got. But it can't just be that. It can't just be backs to the wall, park the bus, see if we can nick a 0-0 here. That won't be good enough for me. Even if we got a 0-0, I would think we're just not going to pick up many points going forward. It's still that negative tactics. So for me, it's really, because I don't think we're going to get anything out of it. For me, it's really coming away with something from the game to say something has changed.
There's some good signs there, yeah.
Yeah, there's some good signs there. Something we can carry forward to say, all right, maybe we actually can get results here against Brentford, Leeds.
It's on the up. Like it's not.
We could be, yeah. So that's really what I want to see. So I think it'll be a 2-0. Hopefully I'm wrong and you're right. Look, you're not long after surgery as well. If we are going really well and we bang in a couple of goals, try not to.
It is what it is, Tommy. I mean, it's been a long time since I've celebrated an away goal properly. So, I mean, it's fine. What happens, happens.
Yeah.
I'll make sure the people around me are like a nice little bit of like padding for me or something. So, I mean, if I'm trekking, I mean, I'm definitely not doing as much of a journey as some other people are on Boxing Day. But if we're doing that for an 8 o'clock kickoff, I mean, they've got to give us something.
Yeah.
After all this time as well.
Yeah, I mean, Jesus Christ, he's had enough time to prepare for this game.
Yeah.
It's if he's had all that time to prepare and then he comes out and it's the same old, I think we're bang in trouble.
And you'll lose the fans 100%.
Yeah.
I think I don't want to think about it. I don't want to be really negative before we've seen what actually happens. But I think if we do see that same football, and if we do see those players with their heads in their hands and looking like they've got a complete head loss at full time, I dread to imagine it, Tommy. Like it can't happen.
Yeah.
On Monday, it really can't.
Well, actually, what did you make of David Moyes in his interviews? Now, I know managers are going to be cagey in interviews. They're not going to say too much, and they often, of course, won't tell you what they really think.
Yeah.
But it was a little worrying to me that when it was put to him about the results that haven't been great and performances and stuff, and he kind of
was this the denial of the relegation battle? And
the thing with me was we said, we've been unlucky. We've been unlucky. I think of a couple of games, at Forest, we hit the woodwork 3 times.
Yeah, but that's one game where we
had a goal disallowed. Ben Ram had a goal disallowed for an off-the-ball foul by Antonio that another ref might not have given. Obviously, we had the Bowen incident at Chelsea ruling out Cornet's goal. It's been a couple of occasions we've been unlucky, but overall, I don't think we can say we've been unlucky.
No, definitely not. We've not been good enough.
We've been really poor, and it just worries me that he thinks that there's very little wrong, that it's just been a bit unlucky, just need to be a little more clinical in front of the goal, then we just start winning all these games. It just worries me a bit that it suggests that he doesn't see that
there's a problem.
We've been really poor. Really poor.
Yeah, I agree.
And we've been really negative. I mean, some of it's been shameful. The way we set up when we went to Villa, that first half was absolutely shocking. The way we set up when we went to Everton, who were in the mud. Everton couldn't buy a win. And I don't know, it just seems to me just blind to all of this. And it worries me that we're just not going to see anything different going forward, H.
No. Yeah, I think you're right. I think what we're hearing in these interviews is completely different to, like, we're seeing different things to him. And it does. It feels very stubborn.
Like denial or something.
Yeah, it feels very like, no, you have no idea. Like it's going really like, and I don't know. It's difficult to comment, I guess, like not being in that position. But yeah, there's an element of, they don't take responsibility. But there's been a few things. There's been a few of his interviews, like since the start of the season, where I've thought there doesn't seem to be a lot of taking responsibility for what's gone wrong here. And sometimes the players come out and they say, look, we just weren't good enough. But also, there's an element of luck to it. Blah blah. I get that, but. Yeah, it doesn't fill me with confidence. It's the same thing, right? If you've got somebody who keeps repeatedly doing the same thing wrong to you and just, sorry, but there's no. It's an accident. It's an accident.
Yeah. If we win a game, he never says, "Oh, we've had a lot of good luck there, lads."
Yeah. Like
and we have a missed penalty, and stuff against us and stuff, and
it's a weird. Yeah, but then to come out and say, since the boys have been back training, they've looked really strong, they've looked really positive, like they know we need to be playing better, is a bit like, okay, well, which are you saying they need to be performing a bit better, or we need to be lining them up better, or like I don't know. It's just you're right. There's this sort of bit of a strange, I don't know, reluctance to be acknowledging that there's something going wrong, because then I guess if you don't deny any wrongdoing, you can't be held accountable. I don't know.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm hoping it's just a bit of manager speak,
Yeah, I think there's definitely going to be something like around that, right? Like
equally
saying that players are doubtful. Who knows, right? They might be fine. There could be a bit of game playing going on there.
You never know. I mean, look, I wouldn't be shocked if Aguerd was good to go.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
I mean, he was due to play for Morocco against Croatia.
I hope he is, Tommy. I really do hope he is.
He got ill, so they pulled him from the game. So they were going to play him in the third place playoff. So So Aguirre could be good to go. You never know. Obviously, the thing with Scamacca, we still actually don't know if there's any ligament damage because there's so much swelling they can't do the scan. So they have to wait for the swelling to go down so they can do the scan to see if it's just bruising and swelling or if there's any actual ligament damage there.
But again, that's not something that doesn't heal overnight, does it? That's not a.
No.
That's still going to be a.
Yeah, it's definitely better than ligament damage, but ligament damage we're talking a number of weeks.
Oh gosh, yeah.
So hopefully if it's just excuse me, if it's just bruising and swelling, they should be able to deal with that fairly quickly. But I think pretty much all of the injuries are quick fixes. We hope Cresswell should be back very quick. Aguirre obviously will be back very soon. Zuma, we're talking maybe mid-January, third week.
Yeah, that's not bad. It's not far away.
Not too bad. The weird one is Corney. Is he ever going to play a game of football for West Ham again?
Absolutely bizarre. I can't. No word about it. Nothing.
When he went down, it was like a couple of weeks.
Yeah, it was like a calf strain.
Yeah, it was a calf strain. It's nothing.
And absolutely bizarre. And he looked so promising when he was on. And I thought this is going to be a really good link up here with him and Scamacca. And I mean, it's just another one. It's just another head scratcher, isn't it, Tommy? That you just think, all right, fine. But I mean, that was a sign that, everyone was a bit like, okay, this is interesting. Like, it will take some time. And then just off the radar, no mention of the injury, no expected return. It's mental. It's mental. But
it's a bizarre.
And is it going to be a case of too little, too late? By the time he's back, then we're already like our season's decided, and we've missed out on arguably what could have been half a season of a really good option for us. But I don't know. It's a weird one for me. That I mean, he just seems to have just disappeared off the face of the earth. I mean, obviously we've seen it; they've posted stuff about him, but nothing about his return to the game that I've seen or anything.
Yeah, he seems to have a bit of an attitude problem, actually. Sean Dyche mentioned it, actually, saying that Corney doesn't want to play unless he feels absolutely 100%, like physically and mentally, and then he'll play. But if he doesn't feel 100% physically and mentally, he doesn't want to play football.
Right, I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Yeah, so Sean Dyche has said like he was a bit of a nightmare that way.
Headache.
He just couldn't rely on him whatsoever, and it's actually pathetic. It's not. He's very well paid. He's probably on what, 60K a week, something like that.
Andy Carroll job.
Yeah, he's on like 6K a week, and it's like players play with niggles all the time. All the time. It's just everyday thing for players that players are often.
He's been out long enough, Tommy. I mean,
it's like
bizarre.
And when you're paying someone that much money, it's like
it's time to be like, go and do your job.
Get on the fucking pitch.
Yeah, go and do your job. You get paid to do a job. So it doesn't work like that anywhere else, does it?
No, I mean,
all right, enough is enough now, or you're not getting paid.
Most players probably don't go through the season feeling 100% every game. They've got
absolutely not. Of course they don't. Absolutely not.
Niggles, and they play like players like Dawson have played through them. Zuma has played through them. Loads of players will play through them, and
they're the ones that you hear about. How many others do you not know
Most
about?
Most players you don't even hear about the niggles.
No, exactly.
They just go and play and
I don't know.
Medical treatment and he's turning into be a little bit of a nightmare. Him.
Yeah, it's a bit. It's frustrating, really frustrating. But
it is. It's a shame because, as you say, I mean, he's been when he did play, like he's looked an absolute live wire, hasn't he?
I looked at it like a handful, a real handful. Like another player is a handful. So
and a player these last few games we really could have used.
Yeah, 100%. 100%.
So I just saw I don't know. I think he's one of those players just needs to kick up the arse, if I'm honest.
Is Moyes going to be the man to do that? Is he the type that's like, as soon as you give me a problem, I'm not interested?
Corney, if Moyes is still the manager at the end of the season, Corney could find himself just completely frozen out, and Moyes tell him, look, tell your agent and fucking find you another club.
Yeah, right.
Which is fair enough, I think. If he's
100%.
if he's that
got an attitude
unreliable,
problem, yeah,
you're no good to us.
Yeah, and if we're looking to contend for those top places, we don't need that.
Yeah, and I think Moyes liked Cornet. I think he likes him as a player. I think he did play him.
Yeah,
he was starting to introduce him. He was starting to start games. It looked like he was on the cusp of becoming a regular out on that left-hand side. And then you compare his attitude to Benrahma. I think Benrahma's attitude has been unbelievably good.
Oh yeah, 100%.
For a player who I'm sure
gets so much grief and feels like hard done by sometimes.
Yeah, he's been hard done by Moyes.
Yeah, and he just. But that's the difference. He wants to play football and he wants to prove his worth. Yeah,
he gets his head down, and despite what the manager thinks of him, and despite being probably pissed off that he's not
proves his worth. He proves.
Yeah, every time he comes on, look at his attitude.
Spot on.
I'm going to make you pick me next week.
Yeah.
And then you've got Cornet, who the manager probably is more willing to play and doesn't want to know. It's bizarre to me, like any interview I've seen with players, they hate being injured. They hate being in the physio room, not being able to train, and especially not being able to play football.
No, well, yeah, I mean, it's for that amount of time as well. It's
they can't wait to get back out training and playing games
because they know how long it takes to go through that process. It must be really arduous to just go through the injury, the rehab, the only playing in friendlies, only getting 10 minutes, only before you get back into the swing of things. So that's a long old process. So I mean,
and then it's just bizarre to me that Cornet just seems uninterested on
it. Not bothered about that. No. Tommy, I'm like this close to my battery dying. So
no worries. I was going to wrap it up there anyway.
Lovely stuff.
But
sorry,
we have an answer, H, before you go. So there's Neil. 2 for presents these days, but when I was a kid, Mum always made sure that Christmas Eve was my birthday, Christmas Day was Christmas. So as a kid, I was
perfect.
There you go. It's official. Neil from Down Under is absolutely
double
spoiled.
present day.
Yeah, lucky. But
all right for some.
Yeah, listen.
I wouldn't enjoy it if I was buying, but
listen, thanks very, very much, H, for joining me.
Thanks for having me on again. I enjoyed it.
Always great chatting with you, and fingers crossed you'll be coming out the Emirates smiling and not needing a second surgery on Monday night. And I'll be there. I'll tell you what, if it's going really well and we're playing really well and we score and we go 1-0 up or something and I'm going to win it, I'm going to be thinking, this is brilliant, but I really hope H is
okay. I'll be absolutely fine.
She's not leaving in an ambulance or something.
Yeah. Honestly, I'll make sure that I'm lying. I'm not going to make sure I take it easy. I'm going to be excited. I'll be in there if we're doing well. But yeah, I'm cautiously optimistic.
Yeah, fair play.
Let's see how it goes. I'll be disappointed by the end of it, and I'll go, same old West Ham. Here we go. We're back. We're back with a bang. But
yeah, if we get something, you can DM me and say, "See, told you so."
I would never, because I'll end up proved wrong the following week.
We'll leave that for the following week. Listen, thanks again, H. I really
Lovely
appreciate
to chat
it.
to me. Really good to speak again.
Yeah, we'll do this again definitely if you're
lovely. And have a great Christmas. Enjoy yourself.
You too. Great Christmas,
a good time.
New Year. Yeah.
But I'm sure we'll speak personally anyway.
We will, of course.
All right, mate. Thanks again for having me on.
You're welcome, and thanks for being here.
Mate.
And thanks to everybody in the chat. Really appreciate you all being here, and hopefully you'll be able to join me again next week. All of you have a great Christmas. I'll just remove H there for a second. All of you have a great Christmas and a New Year. And I will be on again next Friday. Don't know yet who'll be guesting, but hopefully you'll join me. And until then, let's keep our fingers crossed that we can turn this thing around and that the rest of the season will be much better and that we can beat the Arsenal. Come on, you Warren.